we're live here, LENSEC Live. What's your perspective? And I'm excited with my co-host today, David Singer. Again, David, I guess you got hired to come back as our regional sales manager from the Midwest to co-host with me after I interviewed you last week. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Guess I did a great job last week.
You did a phenomenal job, and that's exactly what we needed. And so I'm excited about our guest. This organization's fantastic. I survived last year's softball tournament. I said, David, when there is another softball tournament, as another security softball tournament, I'm bringing David with me, and David's going to have to train with me so I can do better than I did last year, especially in the home run derby. But I'm excited to welcome the program from Mission 500 Strategic Partnership, Tom Nolan. Tom, thanks for stopping by. What's your perspective?
Hey, nice to be here, guys. Appreciate the invite, and very excited about our partnership and all the things we do together in the industry.
Absolutely. So let's let's learn a little bit about background about you first, Tom.
My personal background, I really came from a very eclectic background to get where I'm at today. I really started out in the construction business. I was a union crane operator for almost 10 years, and then got involved with a small business. And really my transition to nonprofit land is really from, I started doing, we do service trips with Mission 500, and that's one of the things that got me really excited about life change. Got a chance to do some really interesting things in doing mission work, short-term mission kinds of things, really through a church setting. And then that led me to a place in New York City when 9/11 hit. I became a strategic worker for a group called World Vision, and I was a disaster coordinator for part of New York City during that time frame post 9/11. And so that got me started on the nonprofit wheel there a bit, and that was just an amazing opportunity. We had World Vision was the organization that started Mission 500. Some of you may know George Fletcher was one of the founders, and Jeff Eichenlaub. Jeff worked for World Vision, so we got to meet each other back in those days. That's way back. And then I worked for about 10 years for something called the New York City Leadership Center, which was a center in New York City training nonprofit leaders. So that's kind of my background leading up to where we're at today in Mission 500. So.
Very interesting, very interesting. The background that led you to that mission and that stuff like that. And David, you're definitely familiar with Mission 500. As you said, you've helped with a certain team you worked with before sponsored events, right, David?
Well, my familiarity with Mission 500 is the 5K run that takes place every year at ISC West. Mm-hmm. And, many people in the industry reach out and ask for donations, and I'm always willing to help out. But certainly Mission 500 has to be way more than a 5K run at ISC West. Tell us a little bit about Mission 500.
Well, Mission 500 it's a great organization. I mean, it's one of the things that I get up every day enjoying what I do. It's one of the amazing things about working in nonprofit land is you really have an opportunity to change lives on a regular basis. And so I sit in a position very often where I work with folks like you, but I get to see the back end and I see where things go to change lives. So Mission 500 simply it's put together as an industry, security industry nonprofit to really help children across the USA and really promote corporate social responsibility in a variety of different ways. And, we really do this in a lot of different ways. One of the things we do is general advocacy for children. We work with different groups. We work with a lot of third-party organizations. We find the best people doing great work, and we help them. We partner, come alongside. A lot of times we'll build a partnership between a great security industry organization and some local group that's doing great work in their city. Rescue mission or a group working with homeless youth, or a number of things like that. So we do a lot of advocacy. And then we do a lot of conversations with organizations really to say, what is your passion and how do we inspire you to do better as an organization in the area of corporate social responsibility and getting involved with the community. And then we do a ton with just mobilizing groups to get out, like you're describing. The 5K run would be one of those groups that we'll just pull people together, hundreds and hundreds of people. We establish service trips around the world, and when there's a disaster, when there's a challenge, we do a lot of things like that, and then we'll build strategic alliances with different organizations. Like in Vegas right now, just got off the phone. We work with an advocacy there for homeless youth in Las Vegas. So even though ISC has left Las Vegas to be virtual, we're still working with the groups in Las Vegas, and all of our runners are virtual, but a lot of the funding will work with the group in Nevada that's working with kids that live on the street and things like that. So,
yeah, and that's the nice thing. I think that's all part of it is the security industry to get together, regardless if they're competitors or colleagues, together working side by side to help people in need. The mission of security is such a great mission, but this is much more because now you're serving others.
Right. Yeah, and you described it earlier you mentioned a little bit about the softball game, and that's one of those great examples where we have actual competitors playing together on the team, but it's all for a worthy cause at the back end, so we all pull together from different industries to say, how do we collectively make a greater impact together, maybe more than we could do with any individual company.
And that's so important. And David, one thing I just keep saying, what pointers are going to help me? How would you have done in the home run derby, David?
Well, quite frankly, I'm a singles, doubles, triples guy, so not my cup of tea. But it is quite intriguing to hear, there's a 5K run, home run derby, softball, some unique ways that you create events to raise money. And awareness. So outside of these events, what other types of events do you do? And now, how has COVID-19 affected that?
Well, classically, we do a lot of, corporate engagement events is one of the things that really makes a big impact. So we'll do, a lot of people do their annual sales gathering in different locations. So sometimes we'll show up at the sales gathering and we'll get everybody on the corporate team to do something together. Last year we did a bunch of things with Access Communication, was one of our great friends, to do some innovative stuff. Last year we did a bicycle build in Chicago. So they had a sales team in Chicago. So we did a bicycle build. So we got a bunch of bicycles that brand new bikes. We assembled them. We had a mechanic come in and make sure all the bicycles were sound. And then we trucked them, put them in a big truck, and we went to a foster care agency in Chicago that's doing amazing work. These kids are in this place and they've never had anything new, but it's the next step before they go to jail, for example, in their case, or an institution. And so we got to hang out with these kids, give them bicycles, and then we all the people on the team and the corporate team just totally excited about getting involved in what they did on the other side. We did some great work in Austin with women coming out of sex trafficking, for example. We did hygiene kits and we did some builds for them. So we do a lot of these kind of things where we work with school supplies, hygiene kits, and a lot of times it's around an event like ISC. ISC every year will do hygiene kits for the Nevada Health Center that has mobile medical trucks that go around the city. So we'll usually put together about 500 personal hygiene kits that they can use to reach out to people on the street, and a lot of things like that. I think service trips are one of the things that we do that, again, it's an amazing thing if you've never gotten a chance to be part of any of that. Last couple of years, we've worked in Puerto Rico putting roofs on houses. And again, it's a very similar kind of thing. It's that collective impact. Last year, we had 28 people take a trip with us, and I think we had 13 different companies represented on the trip. And we were able to completely rebuild 2 whole houses there. And then what happens at that, you build these lifelong camaraderies with friends, and then what you're able to accomplish is just so fantastic. So keep your eyes open for those kind of things. They're kind of a lot of fun.
Wow. See, and and we'll get to the COVID-19 shift.
Yeah, and the COVID
in a second, but I wanted to kind of do a follow-up from that process when you talk about some of these events and different things. Habitat for Humanity, another, I was very sore going into Sundays softball last year, which is almost about the same time last year. It was sometime right after Labor Day. I think it was a week after Labor Day, second week of the NFL season, that I probably could have hit some home runs, but hammering nails. So really, what's another fun thing is how you guys partner with Habitat for Humanity. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's another great partnership we have, and they're representative of a lot of groups, but we did that in ISC West last year. Before ISC happened, we had a group come in the day before, and we built some houses there, and then we decided to do that in conjunction with the softball last year. So I wasn't part of that when I was on the field setting up what was going to happen the next day, but we did beat up a lot of people. Unfortunately, we were sort of debating if we should do that again next time, because everybody was so tired from the Habitat. They were just only at half speed during the softball event. So I'm glad you were able to see that firsthand. That was great.
Yeah, I did. I was so sore waking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never hammering a nail. Now I'm going to have to go ahead and try to hit the ball. So especially when I haven't played any type of sport like that. I'm a former professional wrestler, as I told people before on this show, maybe not on this show, and also a former college basketball player. So this sport was not my sport, and I fared well. I did score about 3 or 4 runs. I just can't field worth anything. I think I'll have to be a first baseman the next time I come in, because I can at least catch the ball off first base. Don't put me in the outfield with these guys. These guys are pros. They're hitting the ball so far every time. I'm chasing after it, lose it in the sun, because it was one of the sunniest days last year. I think it was like 90.
It was a hot day.
It was a hot 90-degree weather, but it was such a family-oriented event. So the thing that's nice about this is this camaraderie that develops, David, from these events. And I'm sure you've heard that from people that have participated from your team before, David, on the event, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we had our board chair, Ken Gould, is really he's sort of the big guru behind softball, and so he came out you probably met him.
Yes.
And when he was at Habitat, and he got his butt kicked a little bit on that operation too, so he was going a little slow next day for softball. But yeah, it's great. It's great to see competitors working together and people that are. But when you have the cause in mind and you're making a difference, it's really an exciting thing to see the end result. And a lot of people that we work with, they're not always able, they trust the end result is happening. But when you do get a chance to come out, and I hope you get a chance, Neil, sometime, and David, to come out and see sometimes where things are going and what happens with them. There's a great group in the Bronx. It's actually the World Vision Warehouse. And so I don't know if you got involved with packing the school supplies, but
my oldest daughter and my wife, because they came up with our newborn child, and the 3 of us were the ones that came up together.
Okay.
So yeah, they did pack the backpacks. They really enjoyed that. So that's the nice thing about this, David. This is different. Like, the people that come watch the game participate. So it's not this situation where, hey, they're just coming to watch a softball game. They're working together with everybody, where they provided food for everyone, and then they put all the backpacks together, watched 2 great softball games. So it was such an unbelievable time. I was looking forward to it so much, but I guess we'll be saying 2021. That's what we'll be counting on. So David, I was asking David that question about people that participated in the 5K that you knew of, David. What did they say about the event and everything?
I think they took my money.
Happy just to get them.
I donated. When was it? March or April?
Yeah,
different years, different.
I'm interested to hear, though. What are some of the virtual events that you do have coming up? How are you transitioning to a virtual environment?
It's been, I think anybody that's doing anything nowadays has had to make some adaptation and change in their lives, and so. It's one of the things that we've been trying to do. And unfortunately, we have good systems for like the 5K run, the security 5K in Vegas. All the back end stuff is intact for people to do personal fundraising pages. And so when we shifted to virtual, when ISC shifted to virtual, we felt like we could shift our whole operation to virtual. So we had about almost 400 runners registered for the ISC race in Vegas, and almost all of them just stayed with us on the virtual side. And then the other thing we had to do is, so much happens with sponsorship. We raise revenue through sponsorship as people put their banners up and their companies, do something for the company for get their word out there and their message out. And so we had to figure out a way to make that virtual. So all the organization of ISC just partnered with us, and some of the other agencies out there, Security Systems News and some other great groups. They just came up with a package that we can make a sponsorship package for people, that corporations and businesses that donated. We could give them a virtual benefit instead of just putting up the banner or something like that. So we were able to transition well, and about 85% of those that we had as sponsors for ISC, they transferred with us over to the virtual side. Some said we want ours to go to 2021, and but most of them just are happy to move along. So right now that's not happened yet. But prior to that, we've been doing some other interesting things. We have something called the 500 Club. So if somebody donates $500 in some way, we give them a bunch of personal benefits. We give them a jacket and some bragging rights in their sphere of influence. And so we've been doing some fun things with that. I myself did a half marathon virtually up in Boston. I have some kids that live up in Boston. So I did a half marathon, 13.1 mile run up there as a fundraiser for my Mission 500 or my 500 Club experience. So we just put a bunch of opportunities out there, and people could ride bikes. Some people cut their hair off. Some people did different things to raise funds, but same basic idea, doing something virtually. We had one business, they walked the distance in their company from Florida to Maine in just doing steps, and then they got people to sponsor them. So just some interesting creative ideas there.
Great to hear those, the shift you made. And once you heard you had to go to that, are mostly the events coming up all going to be online? Or is there going to be physical events that you're using, practicing social distancing and stuff, where you figured out ways of people to get together?
Well, we really debated softball because, softball would be possible. We just felt like that was not going to be a good idea. So one of the things that is been open for a long time, almost everywhere in the U.S., is golf. So we haven't done any golf tournaments, but we decided on September 21st, right around the corner, you want to make the cruise out from Pittsburgh for golf. We're having a great golf outing. So we just actually closed down all the golf registration. So it's very successful. We have a lot of sponsors, but that's going to be in Marlborough, New Jersey on the 21st. We will be doing a kind of a back to school kit build for Title I school in Atlantic City, New Jersey as part of that. But that is one thing we're going to do. And then the other thing that we felt would be very good, this will be the second annual motorcycle run we're going to be doing in October. So October 18th, we'll try our second annual motorcycle run for industry people that want to come out and just do a beautiful ride towards upstate New York, northern New Jersey, upstate New York, Bear Mountain, just a beautiful, beautiful run up that way. So those are two things that we're doing live. And really everything else we're doing is going to be virtual at this point.
And hopefully 2021 is different, right? That's the hope.
I think we all hope 2021 is going to be different. And I guess everything remains to be seen how things develop and, the second tier. But where I live in New York City area and New Jersey, they're probably, things are going well, but they're very, very strict about what we can do and what we can't do. We want to, really honor what's going on in the government. And the golf tournament, this particular golf course is very, very careful with all of that, with social distancing. And though we're going to be doing much like any other golf event, we'll do it in a safe environment. But it's going to be an awesome opportunity again for people, competitors to come together, and then we're going to have a little dinner, happy hour, and some things like that, where everybody can have some interaction together.
Interesting.
Great. If people want to get involved with Mission 500, whether they want to donate or just help out in general, get more information, how would they do that?
Mission500.org is the simplest thing. Just go to the website my contact information's on there, my phone number. My email is tnolan. My name is Tom Nolan. tnolan@mission500.org. And you can email me, or you can go on the website, and my phone number's actually on the website. Be happy to help out.
We love being a sponsor of Mission 500 for all the events. Especially, we'll be sponsoring the virtual 5K and hopefully softball next year. I guess hopefully
Awesome.
the calendar, and for September of next year, hopefully that softball tournament will be back, and we'll all be back to semi-normal. Let's all hope.
We hope, yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys and all you do, and all of the corporate sponsors. We couldn't do what we do in any way without, friends like you that step up and just make a big difference. So we honor you as the real heroes in what we do.
Well, thank you, Tom, again for stopping by. Really learn more about what's happening with Mission 500, especially what other activities and events that you guys are scheduling throughout the rest of 2020. Again, everyone needs to, so thanks again for stopping by, but everyone needs to visit lensec.com/live to catch up to all our different live programs, and also follow us on different social media channels. And David, thanks again for co-hosting with me.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, David. Nice to meet you guys.
And I appreciate everyone stopping by. And guys, that was LENSEC Live, guys.